Alone. So many memories. It's not home anymore. Not without Rost. There's nothing for me here anymore. Hi, Rost. I'll just take this off. Don't want him listening in. Rost, I'm sorry I didn't come sooner. When you said goodbye, I told you I'd find you. Track you down. Well, looks like you did it after all. Went somewhere I can't follow. I should have known you'd be watching. At the Proving. Looking out for me. There for me when no one else was. Like always. One last time. Thank you, Rost. I won't waste what you've given me. I promise. I'll make you proud. I found Olin. Made him tell me everything. Which was a lot. The killers are some kind of cult. The Eclipse. Their leader, Helis. He's the one who killed you. The one you stopped from killing me. Olin said they worship some kind of devil named Hades. A buried shadow, whatever that means. They're raising ancient machines from the ground. Corruptors. And that's gotta stop. Olin said I could learn more about the woman I look like in the ruins at Maker's End. As for Olin, I spared him. I know he deserved to die, but his hand was forced. After I saved his family. Innocents who got dragged into this. Like me. And you. Olin said I could learn as for after. Well, I should be on my way to Maker's End. Until next time.
Man, this game is good. Also, I once more showed myself that I'm a completely numbnut. Bruh. As you might see, I don't have Fremlings. Okay, we had just one little one there instantly, not as high, but I definitely have a higher performance now. As it turns out, I didn't have my GPU settings correctly disabled some stuff that was useful for the GPU. But yeah, right now I wanna talk. That's the wrong arm. Because I wanna talk about this game since we are pretty much at the end. We have no more errands to run, and the only mission we have is the ancient armor, which I discovered, but didn't take yet should be here. It's probably that cauldron or this one. So, yeah. But I wanted to take a moment to reflect on this game, since we are close to the end. Normally, I would take this time for games that are bad, to expose or highlight the stuff that is actually bad, and or giving advice on how to improve. So, and here this game, I'm more on the positive side, even so the errors that it has are critical and not really okay. Had to try. Even so, the errors that it has are quite annoying. Like, for example, when you cannot, when one little twig is blocking your pathway, and you cannot just move as freely. But that could also be just the factor of me not paying enough attention to my surroundings. No? Not planning ahead as much as I should. I wanna go to Mother's Watch. Let's see how much better the performance now is. But yeah, even so, you can say those points. I come from a time where it's normal that you never have a straight trajectory. Like, in the moment you would walk straight at a boulder, there would still be a left or right to go. You would hover slightly to the side, then get past it. Maybe that time I gamed different, but this, for example, this is a decent example, because this just shows me that this tree is not round, so I'm not bouncing off the tree. It's more like a block. I'm straight there. I'm just running into a wall, if that makes sense. I just get stopped. And that is also something a human just doesn't do. So it's irritating, to say the least. Other than that, I only have the cut dialogue every now and then that the game has, where you basically got an objective. The game has in its timeline that you would talk first to someone before you find a part, or let's say a battery, before you find a battery. And then, okay, well, the performance is definitely smoother, but still not there. So let's tune stuff down again. Because I want my frames. And when you have the parts ahead of time, often the part where the NPC would ask for those parts would get cut, and you get jumped straight to the conclusion of the interaction. The first one was with the Hunter's Lodge, where was it the first one? It was definitely the first one that annoyed me, where they wanted a snap more hearts to pay some sort of debt, and I had one in my inventory. And the second one that annoyed me was when, was it with Olin's? No, it wasn't Olin's family. It was a different one, where just machines randomly attacked the farm and killed everyone, and then there was this signal giver, and I picked it up before they even asked me for it. So it was something. And it really breaks immersion, even so it's something that is at a certain point of time. But it's basically overshadowed or erased out of existence because of the some of the game's major good boy points, and that is just the immersion in the overworld. That just being here feels right, you know. There's not a single element that feels misplaced. Placed, not played. Like, before this game, before I even started it, I had this tremendous fear that this game was just simply looking too good. Yeah, I couldn't imagine a world with that would look this primitive and had this highly advanced machinery living in it. It was just something that looked amazing to me, and I could not wrap my head around it if it was even possible. But this game surely surpassed it, especially with the first cauldron. Was it this one? Might have been accidentally here. Ah, nah, this one was the one where I ranted about the dust on the chairs and desks. The textures were all flat and stuff. Even so, on every character model, even the NPCs, you can see the leaves are individual. They might be the same acid, but the clay that acid is formed out of is the same. So every leaf is really there instead of being just a skin, just a color pattern. And down there, yeah, the dust looked out of place. But that never happened again. That never happened anywhere in the world, and I just lied, because it happened. Just on yesterday's streams, when I was in Frosty Ice Worlds, here, up here, top left. Yeah, right, when I was getting up here. No, when I was getting up here. Where the rocks would look strongly artificial, but then you have only white and gray as color patterns, and it's really hard to not make that look boring. But they still should be held to a higher standard, especially since the rest of the game because the rest of the game looks so freaking amazing. Just look at these leaves. Go to another game. Like, this is at an age where we orbit games like Battlefield 2042. Like the next Call of Duty, I think it's... Now we had... What's the next Call of Duty even called? We had Vanguard and stuff. And when you go through those worlds, like sure, you can still see like how the grass are still PNGs and all of that. But you can basically draw lines where those are. But here, the file size or the bigness of every picture that makes this tree is so small. I want to say that's also on the lowest settings, so let's visit those really quick. Yeah. And one thing I learned through alphas or pre-ordering is once you have a model, or once I as a player am giving a model, that model will not improve. That will be the baseline for the rest of the development phase. And so that just this simple model is so freaking detail rich. It's freaking amazing. Like, an example where it was quite asinine and straight annoying is PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. That was seen really early on, that you had your spaghetti arms, and if you take footage from today, forget to get rid of motion blur. And if you would take footage from today and go back to when it released, the actual character model does not look improved. It would mainly look the same. So here the base level of detail is extremely high. And I appreciate that a lot, because that is what makes this overworld feel real. Make it feel real. And it's not just clay machines walking around. I should probably get one of these guys. Or both. So I can highlight better what I mean. Because I think Watchers have the one of the worst models coming around, or what? Yeah, they have one of the worst models, so I think it's the best example as well. Because they have this theme. They have this theme where the tail is one rope towards the head, and then they just have the legs and the hand body and the head modules attached to it. And even this rope of sorts has so much detail. Yeah, most of these shadows are not painted like they are here on the ground. No, you can see that these rocks there, they are flat, but because they are painted a certain way, when we look straight at them, it doesn't instantly catch our eye. And here, these textures, just look at them. Everything is there. Well, almost everything. Like, I'm not gonna nitpick this line or that line. Yeah. And like I said, this is the worst model in my opinion. And that the worst model looks this freaking amazing, crafted with so much detail. I can, even without a quest, I can walk these streets, yeah, for days before getting bored.
These will keep.
I mean, before I even went to the desert area, when I was converting my video footage to 2K, because there was a bitrate problem on YouTube, so I had to upscale my footage to 2K, upload it, and then suddenly the 1080p version did not have any errors for some reason. Probably because the rendering PCs over there are way better than what I have at home. You know? So yeah, that probably helped a lot. But it wasn't a blurry mess anymore. But yeah, why I was doing that and couldn't stream for that amount of time, because I was rendering, uploading, all at the same time. I was still playing this game and just went through the overworld and hunted animals. And it was so fun. Sure, then I reached that point where I even stopped and talked about how I probably overplayed this game. But I'm still here and having fun. Because sometimes all you need is a day break from something. Reset your mind and suddenly you come back. Just can enjoy the awesomeness of that thing again. And since this is a really well crafted game, it's not like a competitive grind like League of Legends or StarCraft, where when you get sick of that sort of grind, you're really gonna have a bad time. It's like having a job you no longer wanna do. That's a big problem. Well, it wasn't so much in StarCraft 2, since there everything was really well crafted as well. So, on the other hand, I really want to say that the story so far has been gripping for me, but since I'm fresh from a long side quest and errand grind, I don't even really remember what the feeling as the main story gave me, what was amazing about it and stuff. Yeah, from what I can recap is we lost our godfather. We had Aloy recap for a good bit just a moment ago. But after we got injured in the proving, we got sent out to find answers to the question of why did the All-Mother talk to me, analyzed me and said I was not pure of code. I was corrupted of sorts. Yeah. seek answers as to why there are these corruptors that make machines intentionally attack humans even. So normally they are just this default behavior, but corruptors make them go apeshit. Find out why. And we found some answers. We found this cult that wants to revive the machine devil, which we might have even seen, because in the place where we rested and we then talked to Allmother. That was the place, I think, where the machine devil was defeated. So there's a minor mystery about Aloy still, because I kinda believe that she is, in quotations, the devil's child, because she was just burped up from the facility, or from the machine devil himself, because the elderly woman only found us. They didn't find a mother. They did not know where I came from. So I'm probably a clone, an artifact. And the woman that we are now searching for, which looked similar to us, but massively older age, is maybe our mother. So that is still something we have to look forward to. And yeah, like Aloy already said, we found Olin. Olin helped us with the machine cult. Helped us a lot. We found out his hand was forced and all of that, which is okay. He's now on his redemption arc, basically. But he will no longer be part of our story, I think. We still have to find Erza, I think, is her name. Because that town's guardsman, whose name I always forget, is the drunkard. He lost his sister, at least he thought. But it turns out that his sister might have been just abducted, and they killed someone of her size and put her armor on that body, so nobody would instantly start searching for Erza. We also had one interaction with the Sun King, the Neo one, but it wasn't as impressive, I would say. Like, they made a decent job at having the atmosphere of a higher up, of a king around him, but I can barely remember it, probably because I don't have as much time spent with them as with other characters, so it's probably a big factor there. And as I said, we just had this giant grind, so that's the thing. As for errands and side missions, they were really fun. No, they were above mediocre. And that makes them fun, because they also had a good amount of attention. Like, I'm overusing these big words too much, you know? because this game reminds me of the standard we once had for storytelling. And it has this absolute epic overworld. And now, with modern stories and games that we have, we are content with so much less. So suddenly playing this gem of a game, makes me use words that are too big, but it kinda has earned these words because it was held to a higher standard than modern games. But it earned it through time, not through the standard we had back then. So yeah, I really had fun with the errands and side missions. And since I kept the Hunter's Lodge stuff, was it in it? No. Especially this the quest that gave me the Hunter's weapons here. That one was really nice, and I'm glad I kept it as the last side mission, because it asked me to fight various enemies, strong and medium, and I could really see how far I had come from back when I was here at home, you know, compared to how I was now. Also a thing I really enjoyed, and it's more a thing because I have a hard noggin. You know, I'm strong-headed in multiple ways. Like, if you show me one way to defeat every enemy, we use that way till it's rancid. Yeah, till it gets banned, basically. And I could defeat everyone with these simple arrows. And maybe I would use those blast arrows as well. But that was really the point where the game chokehold me and told me, you are gonna lose all your pots, all your resources for just one enemy unless you start using your other shit. Yeah, and so I learned to use the rope caster. That's also why I'm here. Because this is where we learned to use this good boy. Yeah, because this thing here is so useful. Because you do not have to be close to an enemy to then place one trap right beneath him. Bloop. Nah, you can do that from a distance. You can mark a zone, and then you either use that zone as a safe zone to hide in, or lure the enemy in, or you then funnel, you spook the enemy and make him run into that zone, and so granting you an advantage, and that is freaking awesome. Suddenly you became this apex hunter instead of an average hunter. But what that also meant is still my biggest grime with this game, which I mind and do not mind at the same time. Because every time I fight one of the big beasts, maybe we should go to a big beast. This is the area that is complete out of control. And I have forgotten the point I wanted to make. But yeah, these enemies would then force me to use my other equipment. And then, later on, that I'm even able to start controlling these guys. That was one of the most satisfying feelings I've ever had. Sure, it was enhanced by me not doing it right, because I went to only into the first factory and then into the last, basically giving me access to the weakest and strongest enemies. But then the medium ones got left out. But I absolutely like to be in the mosh pit. I think 2 or 3 streams ago, like, I was often just in these hordes and was overwriting 1 or 2 major mobs and just have them smack everything around, while I sit there and only focused on dodging, or sometimes shoot a tear blast arrow, maybe rope someone down, but not really interfacing with the fighting in a major way, rather than supporting my Pokemon, so to speak. Yeah, just look on the carefully crafted detail on this big chunk of meat. You know what's the best? Now it will fight for me.
They're angry.
Oh, he's red, so I'm not worried. My really biggest problem with this game are humans. Because it doesn't matter where you are, the moment the human model enters the scenery, we get major frame drops. It's so insane. And it didn't matter if I had good graphics or bad graphics. The difference it would make is I would either have 35 frames on good graphics, or I would have 40 frames on bad graphics. And that is really something where you sit there and think, like, what is even going on?
Let the shadow card you come.
And then when you are on the overworld, it's better in general. But then there are these areas with human patrols, and
Never thought I'd see that sunrise.
suddenly it's not better. It's really not better. Oh right, I have large pockets now for my drinks.
These aren't goods, they're necessities.
But this scenery is nice, but
I've got all the best goods here.
it really chokes out my GPU and CPU. This is bad. And the most confusing thing is that this is the area where you select in the menu the benchmark test. I think I'm gonna do one live. Last time I ran this on Ultra, of course without stream, I had 64 frames. Now this is slightly below high and with streaming on, so of course it's a bit lesser, but it's way better than live, because we are hovering 47 and over 50 frames. Okay, now the average is probably 48, 45. Yeah, the average should be around 45 here. And that is my main problem with this game. Every time there's humans, they are rendering problems. And that's not good. So, is there more? I haven't really talked about the main story. That is because I'm not a story writer, so I wouldn't even like, this is a good story, and if it was a bad story, I would know what to talk about. When, like, my rules for a good story are simple. You have a universe. You create rules for your universe, and you don't break the rules of your universe. The moment you break the rules of your own universe, the universe you created, that's when we have a problem. Someone gave me once this example. You have a superhero. This little kid, yeah, maybe 10, maybe 12 years old. He is suddenly tasked with defeating Rockman. No, wait. You have this little kid who is tasked with the task of defeating a Scissorman. And by doing so, he has to learn the powers of the rock. Easy peasy. You fill a story with that. At the end of the story, he has defeated Scissorman. So, part 2 of this story goes, he suddenly has to defeat Rockman, but he shoots giant lasers out of his eyes to defeat Rockman. Would not make any sense. And that is basically my bar for my stories. Like I suck at stories. Like I suck at presenting that story, as you might have noticed. It's not a very good example, but it's a basic one. A lot of people, I think, can get behind that. And just don't break those simple guidelines. You make your story. You make rules. You have a hunter's den you haven't attended to. What? Oh no, that's a merchant I haven't discovered. Maybe that merchant has something interesting. But yeah, you don't break those rules. And this game has not yet broken any of those rules. I have my bow deals damage. I get arrows that deal more damage. For some reason I have a burst rifle that is extremely inaccurate, but that's fine. It's not completely out of the ordinary, since we are in this weird world. I mean, we have arrows that make machines go apeshit. Yeah, well, that's a bad argument, but it's something that this corruption arrow is something we have seen used by those corruptor machines, and we basically violated that tech into something useful for us. So that's why I can believe that this arrow exists in this world. Also that overwriting machine part. Yeah, that is probably something that makes less sense than this corruption arrow. Since we only have this little small module here on the end of our spear. It is as big as 2 soda cans. And that for some reason can override machines as large as a house or a skyscraper. That's stretching it, but the device would need to get bigger in theory, but it doesn't need to because we are in a video game. Well, I hate the argument. We are in a video game, so I'm gonna say the same thing again, but a little bit different. The reason why I can accept it in this video game is because in order to break your computer with a virus, the virus does not need to be on a big data storage. You know, the virus in of itself does not even need to be that huge of a program. I mean, when you're at home, you have a network, you want to transfer a file to a different computer, the program used for that is barely 10 megabytes huge. So and then you would only need a file of that size to be brought into a system. And then you have something like a Trojan or remote access to a different computer. Now this is about overwriting. In a way, it's only a basic variable, as we overwrite what is friend or foe in the heads of these machines.
This'll be quick.
So we only need, in quotation marks, the code for the bigger ones. And this right here, where we can write machines, that should say the game in of itself. You know, I went through the trouble killing a watcher, even to show off the details of the machines, even so I could have just converted one of these boys. But hey, I'm doing this live without the script. So bruh. This is cool. So what? The only thing, it's not just an only thing. There's probably something else that could pop into my mind. One of the things I could also quickly mention is the DLC area that is here that I poked into. There could or should have been a clearer sight or mention that this is not the base game. So when I had to pull my own color and to draw away from that area, man, that was hard. Because not only was I suddenly presented with really amazing challenges, but also gear that is twice as powerful as my own. And that was a big wink to me that it's not an area I should be in. So yes. It took me a lot of determination to pull away from that side, especially since I'm a big fan of desert and frost, snowy areas. I actually like frost more than desert, especially for real life reasons. Like I like winter over summer just because I can just put on more coats. Yeah. Against cold, but in summer, what am I supposed to do against cold? And you could say, yeah, just plug in 2 air conditioners instead of 1, but that means burning more energy, burning more money. So it's not a good reason. As for the coats, I buy them once and they serve me for many years. Maybe as a clothing thing, is a food for thought stuff. It's motion tracking. Not just in video games, but also in movies. Because I think motion tracking is really amazing. But it also draws away a lot of things. It's always hard to describe what it draws away, you know? Like in older games, a lot of the animations, you had to handcraft every little bit of it. But today you can put on a suit. The equipment is pricey, of course, but you could probably rent it from a place to make it more bearable. But like motion tracking makes for amazing movies like Battle Angel Alita. That was a good movie. You know, it has only one bad thing, and that is that it's not based on the actual story, but based on the animated movie they once did, and it has a slightly different story than the source material, and the story ends with the at the end of the movie, which is sad because there's so much more that can happen. But the motion tracking is something nice, but am I going to dig into modern movies again, like Star Wars and shit? Or especially Marvel, that currently overuse green screen, and even a scene as simple as a kitchen fight is actually not in a
Sand in
kitchen
my
but
throat.
in a green screen.
Burns.
Yeah. But it does amazing things like the Iron Man suits. You know, where the actor does not actually have to wear a suit of metal or of plastic props. They only have to wear these asinine balls. Then on the computer, it all gets re-rendered into amazing stuff. One of the coolest examples I had for motion tracking was Senua's Sacrifice. That's probably a game I want to revisit soon, because that is definitely a journey, a good story, a good journey. Yeah. And I still haven't made my point about motion tracking, and I think I'm gonna give up on that and should clearly formulate that and maybe write it down for the next time I fuck up the point so hard. But it was something along the lines, since we are no longer handcrafting stuff, we are losing talent in an area we do not really need to lose the talent. Like we could just keep it as is. Hey, who's fighting here? Yeah, none of my business. What dear? I think that's really it. Yeah, the only point I cannot really make is about the story, because I'm just not smart enough for that. But not knowledgeable enough in those areas. This is a story that is more than good enough for me. And it builds on the immersiveness of this overworld instead of the overworld serving the story, which I always appreciate. So,